recording. Um, so this is the minor call for 1029. Um, yeah, so I think the first thing that we can talk about is the minor update. Like always, so there's a new one. There's a preliminary update that we pushed last week. We'll be finalizing that and pushing it to kind of the main release to have everyone upgrade. I'm just going to make it so you don't actually have to change your config files like you do now. But with this update is actually really good because it's going to help a lot with that number of Infura requests. So if you're hitting any of those rate limits on Infura, and then also some rate limit issues with the APIs. So if you're not hitting the rate limits, theoretically you can kind of mine a little bit better. So those will be ready later in the week. Should be a simple upgrade again, and I've noticed that mine stays up longer. So in Rinky, catches kind of switching over to the new challenge a little bit quicker. So hopefully you'll see a small performance boost too. The other thing, I know I haven't posted on the channel. If you guys use Tellorscan, let me know. I like to kind of have a gauge for how much people are using, what you guys would want to see, adding to the GitHub issues. I know we're sort of really limited and kind of, there's not, our core team isn't huge. So we have a lot of kind of competing priorities as far as what we should be developing on. If you feel that Tellorscan is really the big issue, push for it. If you feel like, we need to focus on making the miner faster, push for that. Just let us know, and we can work on that. One of the other things that we've been working on too are user contracts. So just how do we make it better for projects to adopt Tellor? Yesterday I pushed, you can just do an npm install Tellor core, and that can pull the Solidity files into your smart contract repo. And those kind of things we're working on building out as projects are starting to play around with us and test us. So if you want to help us build those, if you're a Solidity person, want to learn Solidity, definitely hit me up, let me know. And B, if you know if anyone who wants to use them or is willing to try them out, definitely also let us know. Yeah, so I guess this is going to be a very short call. So we have the big issue that we kind of were talking about yesterday on the Tellor Miner channel. You guys can scroll up to the 28th on there if you missed it out, but it was a lot on kind of voting and disputes. So we had some issues as far as we knew about them. So the old miner would get an API value and store it as 0 and was submitting 0 values. When they were submitted, then somebody went and disputed them and said this person should lose their stake. And that makes sense because it was kind of a bad value. But then at the same time, the person who did it actually didn't do anything wrong. They're just, whether it's a new miner in the system or even an old miner, I had felt that since they were not doing anything malicious, it was a bug in the miner code that we found and we fixed, that they shouldn't be punished for that. So I voted kind of against it, against the slashing, and we had this whole nice little banter back and forth as far as, well, should we always vote just based upon the bad values on the chain? Should we vote based upon kind of how much, whether or not we think they should get punished? And I don't know if we necessarily came to an agreement, but that was sort of the discussion that we were having. And I think the big thing to realize here, guys, is that this network is still really early. We're not, we're very much in beta as far as whether it's the miner code, the Solidity code. So if there is a bug in the code and it causes people to submit bad values, yes, you can sort of make some money by slashing them and getting the reward, but that shouldn't necessarily be our priority right now. It should be on kind of growing the network of miners, growing the number of users. Because let's be honest, we're all sort of in this together at this point. whether you've been mining for 2 weeks or 2 months now, you probably have a lot of Teller tributes, and we're hoping that we can grow the value of these networks. So kind of doing things that uh, push people away or make them kind of give up on their miner or being slashed after they've been running the code for a week isn't necessarily a good thing. So just make sure that we're coming at this with kind of a growth mindset. With this isn't like Bitcoin where every miner is kind of out there for himself yet. This is still just a very, very small community. Probably all of the miners are in the Teller miner channel. So we know each other. We can sort of help work to kind of build this thing better. Same with kind of the feeling in the code too. It's just because it says like you slash them and that has to happen. You get their tokens. But we've actually been trying to get people to give their tokens back. So if you do get slashed, the ideal situation, what we would do in my mind would be we do vote that it was a bad value, but then the person who did the slashing actually gives their tokens back. So that it's definitely much more centralized and much more on this kind of like, how do you get people to be nice? But it's one of those things that we want to do because we want to sort of have a growing network. We want to have people who like being on Teller. It's sort of yeah. I guess that's kind of all I have to say on that. We'd love to kind of move forward with it because we want the other thing. We're going to be working on tellorscan and making it easier for you guys to vote, or if you've just been voting through the miner, because you do want a lot of people to vote. You do want kind of a network of people that is voting. I don't know if you've seen like basically every other system in the blockchain space, us included, I guess, suffers from the problem of not all of your token holders vote. Like Maker, for instance, they just had a few proposals passed, and they had about 30 votes. So the entire Maker system has 30 votes. It doesn't necessarily say good things about the network. Same with Aragon. They're a governance platform, and they had to have about like a 2% voting rate. It doesn't necessarily say good things that you have an engaged community. And I definitely want you guys to be engaged as far as you want to vote, voice your opinions. And I'm happy that you guys are trying to vote against me sometimes. Like that it's actually really good because it shows that you guys, maybe think I should move in this direction. And yeah, let's definitely just continue to work it out, write it down so other people can join the conversation. Okay, and then I guess the last note, we'll be out in San Francisco for the DeFi hackathon. It's run by the Cosmos guys. If you will be there, it will be November 11th. So if you'll be out in San Francisco on November 11th through the 3rd, hit me up. We'd love to meet you guys, and maybe you can come help us work on a hackathon project together. So yeah, thank you. I will talk to you guys soon.